Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Deadfire with me, Bring It On. Let's continue exploring dunnage.
What do we have here?
The old man dressed in skin-tight leathers gives you a quick once-over. You must like what he sees, because he smiles wide, his lips just parted.
How can I ease your troubles, friend?
What do you do here?
I surprise and delight the clientele.
He winks.
My speciality's oils. Full body rub-downs, right? Fit to leave you limber, clear-headed, and free of the stresses of hard living. I got other skills, of course, should you be looking. And all for a measly 200 pyres.
Farewell.
My. Aren't you a handsome one?
An older woman looks you up and down and smiles, revealing several gold teeth.
Did you need help with something, my dear?
What do you do here?
Isn't it obvious? I entertain, of course.
She does a little shimmy and breaks off with a laugh.
It'll cost you 50 pyres, naturally. And don't let the wrinkles fool you. I'm still young at heart, and I've got more experience than most.
She chuckles. Farewell.
I'll see what I can do. It is done.
A lot of money in that drawer.
I've got it.
The blanket is stained with what you hope is dried ale.
I shall be discreet.
Of course.
Now let's see if we can pull them out of the room. I do think we're out of spark crackers.
How may I help? Of course.
I turn around too fast. Well, I'm not as worried about the scrolls
may I
anyway.
help?
Hardly ever use them in combat. Onward to Balefire Beacon. Okay, so I was wrong. So the court must be the central hub of dunnage.
A light's foot and a heavy bullet, our Cap.
Captain Trevisillo is inscribed on the back of the chair.
On it.
Captain Goldfin Chiara is inscribed on the back of the chair. Captain Two-Eyed Pim is inscribed on the back of the chair. Captain Mammarina is inscribed on the back of the chair. Captain Bruno Benwith is inscribed on the back of the chair. Captain Aldis the Sea Wolf is inscribed on the back of the chair.
I've got it.
Captain Furrante the Last Marqueso is inscribed on the back of the chair. They do have some really cool designs.
Ah, Watcher. Good, you have arrived.
Chin jutting upward, he grants you a winsome smile. His left cheek dimples as the smile spreads to show teeth.
Ahoy there yourself, Captain. What do I be but a pretty bit of man meat to dangle from a wrist? As easily forgotten as set aside.
Arms akimbo and head askance, Seraphim smirks. Furrante rubs his thumb over his golden swollenette, violent thoughts gliding over his face like dark clouds. Then he smiles, but it's a vicious expression more than a pleasant one.
A little seabird informs me that you have dealt with our mutual problem, the scoundrel Benwet.
His eyes glint as a fierce grin cuts across his face, and his lone dimple deepens.
Gelarde, for this you have my grandest commendation.
You'd have been right amused, you would. Few sights as fine as that hard-blowing three-sheeter getting what's long been due him.
Hands on his hips, Seraphim juts his chest forward, blue fur expanding like a bird's plumage.
You are lacking in so many ways, my former ship hunter, that no one can say you are not entertaining. I myself would have enjoyed watching you put the scoundrel in his place.
He had it coming.
That he did. Indeed.
Furrante strokes his fingers down the line of his jaw, eyes downcast in thought.
And as promised, I have prepared for you a fine prize.
I've had better. With a sweep of his arm, he offers you a magnificent cloak.
However, there is another matter of which we must now speak. I must confess to you a bit of a problem has arisen, one which speaks to your expertise with the supernatural. We've sighted the floating hangman that haunts the Deadfire.
Have we any sketches of it? I wouldn't mind documenting the phenomenon.
A few somewhat crude ones. Not many who encounter the floating hangman live to tell the tale, or otherwise record it. This galleon, what likely remains of the Fonferros, is a frightful legend. We have been losing ships at sea, amico, and not to those Valera ship-hunting bastards. I believe the floating hangman may be our culprit. Fortune favors us, as I have procured a survivor from such a recent sinking. You will consider what she has to say.
Head craning abruptly to the side, he barks a loud order.
Come forth, Selenia. Quickly now, or I will run rivers of your lethargic blood.
At that last, he smiles. Sun-blistered and raw-boned, the pirate regards you both with a discerning glare. She tongues a chapped bottom lip, but keeps quiet.
Well, spit it out, Selenia, and try not to embarrass me before our guest.
Of course, Captain. It might have pretty hard near the end, but I spit the tale as best as I can.
The pirate touches a spot at the base of her skull and winces. She glances off to the side, eyes black and full of hurt. Furrante sighs and rubs tiredly between his brows.
Go on, gent. I'm ready as I'm like to get me.
With a shiver, the pirate turns her black butt and eyes to you. Nod. What happened to you?
Saw my old crew slaughtered me, my best mates, and even the few I hated. They weren't but blood and meat in the end. It branded the back of my eyes that moment. High seas, nothing but blue all around. Then, mist so thick you could taste it. Ships sailed from within, out of nowhere. was a hunt, not for loot, but for bodies. The ship, it looked...
She gropes at her hip, but there's nothing there. Fingers fumbling at the air, she bares her teeth.
rotted. The crew, they were all undead. Couldn't stop them from boarding. Couldn't kill them. Couldn't even fight them in the end.
Tell me about them, the undead.
They were dreadful. Some were clothed, like maybe they'd only recently died. Others weren't more than moving bones. One was different. Her presence was overwhelming. Heavy. Flames burned in the place of her eyes. The crew shambled hard to do her bidding, even the ones who seemed hardly aware. Figured she was the captain, me.
She shrugs, gaze going far away.
There is a flag the floating hangman flies. A flag that once heralded the Fonferus of Old Valia. It belonged to a Darkotsi paladin of some legend, one Lucia Rivan. But Selenia's knowledge is limited in this regard. Let us instead ask her of a subject she may know.
How were you taken by surprise on the open sea?
Me and my crew were adept. Alert. Always. No. Weren't no one gonna get the jump on us. Was some magic foul. Just sudden like, the winds died, the waters fell flat and the air got heavy. They turned sky and the sea both against us. Then this thick fog roiled up at midday. Without a sound, the Spectre ship
She glides her hand in the air.
skimmed right out. It was too late. We couldn't outsail it.
When did this happen? She ruffles a hand through her short hair, scowls.
Dunno me. Drifted for days, maybe longer. Kept winking in and out after I ran out of drink.
One of mine found her no more than a week ago. Malnourished, dehydrated. The poor girl was scarcely able to speak.
Well, I'm more than able to gabble now, aren't I? Could sail, too. No, you got no reason to keep me.
She flits her hands over the softness of her shirt. Again, her fingers hesitate close to her hip, the fabric crinkled there, where a pistol might normally be strapped. A muscle ticks in Furrante's jaw. He otherwise ignores her.
Perhaps there is something else you wish to ask of our guest before she departs from us.
How do you survive the attack?
Calling me Craven? Huh, sure, I am.
She snorts. She rubs at the back of her head rough, like she needs it to hurt.
Took a knock-in and I was out for a while. When I came to, they were eating Ganasco, our steward. I dropped a dinghy and rode for it. Don't know why they didn't give chase. Don't much care me.
That'll be all. Selenia cuts a glance to Furrante for confirmation. When he dismissively waves her away, her black eyes narrow. She raises her chin, defiant. Then he turns his full gaze to her, suddenly seething. She shrinks in on herself. Fist shaking at her sides, she reluctantly retreats.
She belongs to Aldis, who undoubtedly will come to claim her soon. But that is a problem for another time.
Furrante sighs.
One moment, Watcher.
The captain scowls at Selenia's retreating back, a dark anger warming his cheeks. Yeah, we'll go with the Principe option. Dare and be darned, Captain. As I believe you told Selenia. Spit it out already. He grins, wild and roguish.
Looks like we'll be making a salty grog-sucking cur of this one yet.
Don't know how that's irresponsible.
Mind the manner in which you address me, ship hunter.
So again, reputation, though. The mirth evaporates from his face.
Allow me to cut to the heart of it. Lucia Rivan, whose flag flies atop our spectral ship, was a Darkotsi paladin who died more than 200 years ago. It is my hope that uncovering the details regarding dear Rivan's fate in life may illuminate the nature of her undeath and how to defeat her galleon. Unfortunately, the only soul who could possibly shine more light on our situation lies buried deep within Neketaka.
Oh, the Death Guard that we spoke to underneath that one temple. Forgot the name of the tombs.
One Isir the Berethian, now well rotted, I presume.
I've actually spoken with Isir. His brows hoist high up on his forehead.
Meaning what by that last? You were able to read his soul, despite how much time has passed?
Good, I got it right. He is a Death Guard. Isir had become a Death Guard. We exchanged words.
A Death Guard? How fascinating. And terrible. I must, of course, presume that you've unearthed a promising lead for us.
Well, no. I just got the quest.
Perhaps you were able to learn about Rivan's whereabouts, of where her spectral ship oft anchors?
Did we speak to Isir about that? I'm still going to pay him another visit. Nod. Isir tracked Riven after she had become a Death Guard. They fought near the Isle of Dusk. The captain strokes his chin, his gaze contemplative. He strokes?
I can summon to mind no island with such name. Likely it hides now behind another. I will charge my best chroniclers to track our isle through the centuries. I believe you're becoming an invaluable asset to the Principe, and I deeply value each of my assets. You must accept this token of my immense appreciation.
Furrante clears his throat, and he tugs on the frilled cuffs of his sleeves, his posture more rigid than usual.
A matter of a rather delicate nature has arisen. One which I believe could benefit from your, let us say, expertise. An associate of mine is in need of a favor.
He raises his brows pointedly.
A favor that necessitates a great deal of discretion. See to this for me, and I will weight you with a considerable amount of coin.
Who might this associate be?
A wealthy and influential man. What more do you need to know?
Well, why the need for such discretion?
It involves something of a sensitive topic among the Principi. I'll explain further once I can trust you're fully committed.
Well, what exactly would I be doing?
My associate conducts dealings with a group of traders of a sort. The traders are having a bit of trouble with their newest stock.
He's in league with the slavers. So the choice is going to be between, if you go with the Principe, siding with the slaver-aligned side, or siding with the more bloodthirsty Aldis side. You can trust me.
First, swear it. I have your word on pain of death, amico.
Glower at him.
Guano.
He grins darkly.
Then you're to head to Crookspur Island, where you'll meet with Master Kua.
He clears his throat.
He runs the biggest slavers' port in the Deadfire. However, they've run afoul of the locals. So now, their trade routes are under constant ambush.
Seraphine's mouth falls slightly open. Vertigo tickles the edge of your thoughts, as if you were peering over the edge of the world. The Principe work with slavers.
Excellent goddamned question, Cap.
Roland's bald fist shake at his sides.
No, it is my associate who does that dealing.
He pins you with a pointed look.
My opinion on the trade is of little matter. It is legal, unlike many of our own activities.
Since when be the fucking laws of Kith of any goddamn concern of the likes of us?
I won't help slavers.
I understand you may harbor some hesitation in this regard. But in the case you reconsider, at least allow me to mark Crookspur on your charts.
It's one of the reasons why I tend to fight the Vithrak whenever I find them. Because they enslave other creatures, mentally. I'm about to go and clear out this Crookspur Island.
When you get there, speak with Master Kua. Tell him I've sent you, and he'll fill you in on what he needs. Ado, and how is the sea treating you, Watcher?
I'm curious to know you better.
Amico, do you know how I have lived so long in this life of piracy?
No, but I bet you're going to tell me. He smiles. Conspiratorially, he leans close.
You may already be aware, but I am a Dokotsi Paladin, the first chair on the Consuelo, and my crews have been known to call me the last Marcheso. Contrary to popular belief, I do not overly favor speaking of myself. Come, let us share a fine conversation.
I have questions regarding the Principe.
Who better to ask than the first chair and highest rank on the Consuelo, Mescasitas? Ak, what is it you wish to know?
Remind me again who the Principes and Petrena are.
We are a magnificent but largely landless people, so we have come to own the sea. To survive, we must seize prosperity where we can. Hence, we're oft labeled as pirates, smugglers, merchants of illicit trade, or mercenaries. It will not always be so, but it is for now. Ak, what is it you wish to know?
Dunnage is a rather interesting port. Who first cobbled it together?
What matters is not who they were, Casita. Only that we took it from them.
His grin is shark-like, all teeth and violence.
But as you are curious, I will tell you this. The architecture of Balefire Beacon suggests dwarven craftsmanship. My own research into the island upon which I established Dunnage paints these ruins in a picture of blood and agony. Whatever dwarves sought to make their refuge here were exterminated by a crush of Naga tidal waves and great sea monsters all at once. Fortuitously for us, Ondra shelters her loyal sailors more than wayward mountain dwarves. Ak, what is it you wish to know?
I want to talk about something else. The captain considers your request, before finally returning a little nod.
Come, let us share a fine conversation.
Let us discuss what you needed.
I am listening, amico.
He nods to encourage you on.
What weighs on your mind in this moment, Casita?
What can you tell me about the slavers in the Deadfire? A breath hisses from between his teeth.
Shh, amico, please. I must ask you to guard your tongue. We do not condone slavery within the Principe.
Okay. I was warming up to the Principe kind of as a whole. So it seems like it's just Furrante who's involved in the slave trade. He gives you a pointed look.
But I can tell you, their legal operations are based on the island of Crookspur. If you're hunting for slavers, I suggest you look there.
Remind me what we know regarding Riven and Isir.
By all means. I would happily entertain any further questions you may have.
Do we know anything more about Lucia Rivan?
By all accounts, our Rivan was a Dorkotsi paladin who sailed to the Deadfire in order to safeguard a royal weapon of Old Valia. She is the epitome of Grand Valia, of magnificence, honor, and duty. Living or undead, she strives still to serve her charge. And yet, we know not why, but a Barathian priest called Isir opposed our Rivan, and fiercely. They fought to the death, Rivans to be precise, in this very archipelago. Along with her life, Rivan lost the sword she had sworn to protect.
That's right, Isir had a huge sword on his back. He had a flail in his hand. He traces a dreary line down his jaw.
It has, lamentably, remained unfindable since. I believe it may be why she searches the seas yet. One Isir the Barathian, now well rotted, I presume.
Who is this Isir the Barathian?
Regrettably, I know little but this. He was an Adiran warrior priest of Bereth, and a significantly fervent one, if tales are to be believed. He chased our Dakotsi to the Deadfire, hunting her to, well, to her death. Shortly after slaughtering our brave paladin, the priest died, possibly of sickness, or perhaps from a festering battle wound. He was entombed in honor of his service to Berath, in Neketaka's sacred stair.
I take it you have a plan.
Indeed, I do.
He flashes you a devious grin.
Though I and mine cannot so openly venture into the depths of Neketaka, nor can we commune with the dead. You, Watcher, are adept in both of these areas, correct? You must search the Temple of Berath on Neketaka's sacred stair. Hizair's tomb within it should contain a chronicle for how and where he slayed our paladin, Rivan.
I want to talk about something else. Alright, same as before.
Come, let us share a fine conversation.
Farewell.
Ack, and good tides.
Alright, so most of our party leveled up except for Seraphim. We also received a new belt. Upright Captain's Belt. Buttressed, immune to push and pull effects. Hold fast, +1 constitution. And grants hold fast. Grants concentration on combat start. The Principe captain who once wore this belt was not known to be upright because of his ethics or moral code. To the contrary, by all accounts he was quite a ruthless fellow. His crew admired their captain's unwillingness to back down from any challenge that came his way. Outgunned and outclassed, he'd take the fight to ships larger than his own. He'd sail through squalls and storms, standing resolutely at the helm. Always he held fast. There's no force on Ayora that could bend his back or force him to his knees. Of course, it was the captain's obstinacy. This was being in there. That led to the inevitable destruction of his ship in a maelstrom. However, a man such as he is remembered for refusing to break, even if he is broken nonetheless. I do like that effect. I might give it to Pallegino, though I think Aloth would be better. Since he can't be pulled out of his position. We'll see. Plus, I always forget to use this potion anyway.
This changes nothing between us.
Yeah, he still doesn't like me, does he? Well, we'll try to fix that. Alright, athletics and insight on our main character. So I think all these are new. Practice Healer might be worth it. Increase the effectiveness of any healing you cause. Plus 15% healing done. Righteous Soul. The Paladin's pure soul resists all invading forces, granting immunity to poison and disease effects. Uncanny Luck. Gain a small chance to completely avoid any attack and to convert some hits to critical hits. Seems pretty good. And Tough. Increases the base maximum health you gain with each level. Inspired Beacon. Damage taken by affected enemies is greatly increased. Yeah, plus 40% for 8 seconds. Enduring Beacon. Nearby allies get a deflection bonus for a short time. Reinforcing Exhortation. Commands an ally to redouble their efforts, improving their deflection and granting them the fit inspiration. And Abjuration. Through force of will, the Paladin can destroy any spirit or summoned creature below the Paladin's level. Spirits and summoned creatures equal to or greater than the Paladin take raw damage. Outside the Paladin's level. So I like a lot of these. I think Uncanny Luck is probably the way to go. It makes us a little tankier, but also gives us a little bit more offensive power. Which is something my Paladin is lacking. Also a tough call. I think I'm going to grab Ringrim's Enervating Terror. I'm still not set on Uncanny Luck, though. Let me go back. I think it's fine. I can always respec if I'm absolutely not happy with it later. Again, Adair also gets Athletics and Streetwise. Armored Grace. Fighter is perfectly capable while wearing even bulky and restrictive suits of armor, lowering the recovery penalty from armor significantly. I'm probably going to grab that. Superior Deflection. Increases the character's deflection defense by 4. Uncanny Luck. Also a good choice. Tough, we saw. Unbending. The fighter draws strength from their own indomitable spirit, causing them to regenerate a portion of the health lost from each attack. 25% of damage taken converted into healing for 15 seconds. And upgrades for the fighter's stances. So Guardian Stance. Enemies that disengage from the fighter are immediately attacked and proned if successful. Mob Stance. Each nearby enemy reduces the fighter's recovery time between attacks. And Conqueror Stance. When hurt or above, the fighter's accuracy bonus increases. When bloodied or below, the fighter's deflection bonus increases. Also very good. Let's get Armored Grace. Means he can act faster. So Deep Wounds. Expertise in the Art of Pain leads all slash, pierce, and crush damage caused by the rogue's weapons to also do raw damage over time. We're probably going to grab that. And then Uncanny Luck and Tough. So upgrades for Finishing Blow. Devastating Blow. Broadens the rogue's knowledge of critical anatomy, granting more bonus damage. And Eliminating Blow. Enemies near the target are shaken from the attack. And upgrades for Strike the Bell. Break the Bell. Two-handed staggered effect upgraded to Dazed. Ring the Bell. One-handed damage over time effect now lasts longer. And Pierce the Bell. Ranged weapons also gain bonus damage. I should grab this at some point and get the raw damage upgrade. But Deep Wounds also gives us raw damage, which is great. There's one thing I think he's lacking, since he's using mostly a slashing weapon, is penetration. And raw damage helps ignore that. You run across a lot of enemies that are resistant to slashing damage. Alright, I'm gonna have to level up these two next time, and then we'll finish exploring Dunnage. There's just the one location left.
Alright.
Oh, here's Two-Eyed Pim. By the way, I'm going to call it here for now. Next time, that's what we'll do. Level up Jody and Aloth. Speak to Two-Eyed Pim, and then head to... Is it called the Brilliant Court? By the way, we'll head there next time. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.